What is up, everyone? DJ Martini Midwest Reviews coming at you with another video for my channel today. I have a really good one on the Harman Kardon Studio Onyx speaker. There's versions 1 through 8 now, so there's a lot of versions out there, but I wanted to talk about my version 2 and also talk about just the increments of improvement, or maybe what I don't think are improvement to the speaker. So not only do I want to talk about the new, I want to talk about the old. Didn't really see a video like that, and so this might be helpful for anybody looking for the Studio Onyx but kind of want to compare it with some old versions, because you might see a used one or a renewed one on Amazon, and you might want to say, well, why don't I pick up that for this price if it's comparable to the newer one? So we're definitely going to go over all your options and talk about as much as we can about all these versions, and also talk about my two that I have here as well. So thank you so much for tuning in. It's DJ Martini Midwest Reviews. If you've never tuned in, just know that I love to do reviews. I love to do tutorials. I just want to help, just want to give you guys some information on some of these products that we talk about. Give it to you as easy as possible, do all that research for you so you don't have to, and then leave some links in case you're interested in some of the products that we talk about. So thank you so much. Please like, subscribe, share. Thank you for all the support. Thank you to everybody that has subscribed, and just know that the Martini Nation is growing. It's awesome, it's exciting, and I hope you join so you can ride with the Martini Nation here. So thank you so much. Let's get into the video on the Studio Onyx from Harman Kardon. So I just wanted to kind of go over this speaker. Originally came out in 2014. It was $399. This first version, which is pretty identical to the version that I have right behind me, which we'll talk about, except it was lacking an auxiliary jack and probably had a different Bluetooth as well, but really very close to what this speaker is we're going to talk about. So let's talk about the version 2 really quick. This came out in 2015, just a year later. 38 watt power consumption, 95 decibel level for its top volume, 5 hours of battery life. The original had 5 hours of battery life too. It had a 3.7 volt 2600 milliamp battery. It had a 19 volt 2 amp adapter wall charger. It had 4 ohm speakers, and it had 6 speakers, and so did the original. Bluetooth 3.0, weighed about 5 pounds, a little bit more. Does have a call button, volume button, power button, and Bluetooth button. But other than that, very simple, very easy. And we can go all the way up to version 4. Now, they did change the design on versions 3 and 4. I'm going to show you this one, and I'm going to show you a picture of the version 3 and 4 as soon as we get there. But just to tell you that they really didn't change much when it comes to speakers or the power. They still had 60 watts, still had 5 hours of battery life. Still weighed about the same. The only thing is, maybe with the Bluetooth improvements, they could actually connect speakers together, so you could get like a stereo sound between the speakers with HK Connect. Once we start into version 5, that's when they really started changing the speakers, and we'll get to there in a second. So let's go over the version 2 real quick. So this is the Studio 2. Like I said, I think it looks fantastic. One of my favorite speakers. This is absolutely portable. I've had a lot of portable speakers. I've reviewed a lot of portable speakers, but this is one that I've held onto because it sounds fantastic. The bass notes are great. Really clear sound. You can't distort it because you can turn it up as loud as you want, and it still sounds fantastic. The battery in this I've had for, since I've had it, and it's an original battery, and it still holds between 30 to 45 minutes of charge. So I think that's great for being 8 years old. And so definitely, I think they were made very well. Now, you can buy kits for this to replace the battery. You can also fix these legs. Now, this was a problem with most of the versions 1 through 4, is these legs would break off. Now, these look a little bit different. Let's show you these legs here. These look a little bit different than the original. This is an original leg right here. But on the versions 3 and 4, they kind of, instead of making them like with a point here, they kind of rounded them off and they made them a little bit shorter. So, but most people were breaking these legs off, and so people are now making 3D with their 3D printers, making replacements for these. So you can pick them up, you can find them, and you can salvage your old speaker and put legs on them. And that's another reason why I'm making this video, is because that's what I did. I just got these, I gave them a little coat of paint so they kind of matched, and then I put them on here. Now when you get them, let me just show you, they come, you know, pretty in a little small package, and they kind of look like this. This is an extra 3D printed, and they also have a screw, but that screw will not be able to be used with this. The original screws in these were security torque 10s, I believe. Let me double check that. Yeah, TR10s torque, and you're going to need a long shaft screwdriver to get to. You got to get all the way into this leg and then get to that screw with that torque 10. So you're going to have to buy a screwdriver online, Amazon. They make kits to repair the legs. They make kits to take them apart and replace the batteries as well. And for 20 bucks, you can actually replace the battery and get your full 5 hours of battery life. So you can also get replacement chargers for them between, you know, $15 to $20 as well. Those 3.7 volt chargers, and buy everything to replace anything you need in the speaker. So that's pretty cool. Now it's a little bit hard to find a Studio One, so I doubt you'll find one of those. They're even rare on eBay, but the Studio 2 is still out there, and you can definitely find a lot of replacement parts for this Studio 2. So this one you still can find out there, and it'll be between $50 to $100. They still rank up there, and you can buy new ones for that price, like brand new Studio 8s for, you know, between $100 and $200. So for these to still be, people still pricing these at around $100, you can tell that they definitely kind of hold their value, and they still sound great, look great in my opinion, even today. So once again, let's just show you kind of, this is the Bluetooth button. You got the phone talk button. There's a microphone right here, microphone right there, volume, and then also your power button. Pretty simple construction, pretty simple design, pretty simple to use. You know, volumes, when you turn this on, and like I said, mine still has probably a little right there. You can see that they light up. So this is not plugged in, but it still has volume and everything, so that's pretty cool. Like I said, it's still working. It connected to something. I don't know what it connected to, probably my phone. So very, very cool that this still works, still has battery life, and, you know, sounds really, really good. Now, one more thing I wanted to point out too is the design. They have two 3-inch woofers, 3/4 inch tweeters, a bass radiator in the middle, and then you have this bass radiator in the back side, which in my opinion, these sound really great and have really great bass tones. So that is the version 2. Like I said, you can still find those eBay. Probably can't find them on Amazon anymore, but you can find the Studio 4s on Amazon, and so those are similar speakers, and like I said, they just kind of upgraded a few things. Probably the Bluetooth will be a little bit more. You can pair them together for stereo sound, so you can get 2 of them, but really one of these speakers is enough for a pretty good size room and at pretty good volume. That you, in my opinion, one is enough. But if you wanted to get stereo sound and really fill a room, you could with these speakers. Versions 3 and 4, you can still pick up 60 watts, 95 dB for your decimal level. Still had the 5 hours of battery life. Bluetooth 4.1 on the version 3, and you can connect them together stereo with the 3 and the 4. Okay. All right, so then let's go in and let me snap a quick picture of the version 4 and the version 3. Kind of look similar, so I'll snap a picture of one of them so you can kind of idea what they look like. And then we can go to version 5, which did introduce Bluetooth 4.2, but then they went down to 50 watts and only 80 dB of total volume. So they did go down significantly in their total volume, which is kind of amazing that people say that the newer ones are the brightest and the best and sound the greatest. Now, they might have improved maybe some of the sound, but I really think with that 6-speaker design of the 4 and under, that you can't beat the volume level, and you can't beat the lows that you got from this particular speaker. And so that's kind of the point I want to make a little bit. So then with the 5s, they went to a version that has a handle, and I'll show a picture of it right now. And so they had a handle, and you could get them in different colors, but they went to like a speaker and a tweeter, and they still had the bass radiators in them, which gave them pretty good bass tones, but you only had 2 speakers in there, or maybe 3 with the bass radiators. So they kind of definitely changed their design, and they put less speakers in them, and they still charged the same amount of money for them. So they were still like, you know, $299, $399 out there. So they did start making them of recycled materials and things like that. All of these still sound great, but in my opinion, I think this version is just my favorite of all of them. And I have heard new ones. Just keep hanging on to this one because I think with the break-in time and how well it's stayed over time, that it's an instant classic for me. Version 6, they did make it waterproof. They did add a handle to it, like I said, with the 5 and the 6, but you could hook 2 of them together still, but they went to 1 woofer and 1 tweeter, and they were 50 watts. You could get them in different colors, but they did improve the battery life up to 8 hours of battery life. So that was an improvement. And they did make them a little bit of waterproof, because these weren't like totally waterproof or anything like that. They didn't have any IPX rating. So version 7 and 8 now that we go to, and so we have gone from 2017 to 2023 now with the versions 5 and 6, and now we're going to the 7 and 8, and really they changed the design again. They gave it like a handle that is kind of moves around, and you can also almost like a ring, and then that ring can balance the speaker, or you can put it flat, and you know, you can just adjust it many different ways. And it looks cool, but like I said, it's not my favorite design. I actually kind of still like this compared to that ring design. That's like something to keep the speaker upright instead of having the legs. And I think they went to the ring because they knew you couldn't break the ring as easy as breaking the legs on these. So they're also still round, unlike the 5 and 6, which they gave it a flat bottom and a handle. That way you couldn't break the legs off on that one. So they were trying to improve the leg idea, but like I said, I still like this design in my opinion, even though it is possible to break those legs. Still making them with recycled materials, but they still just had, in the 8, they have 1 woofer and 2 tweeters, but in the 7, they still were in the design of the 1 woofer and 1 tweeter. So now the tweeter was a little bit bigger, of course, in the 7, but in the 8, they have 1 woofer, 2 tweeters, still have a bass radiator in the center of that speaker as well. 50 watts, 8 hours battery life, just improving the Bluetooth. In the newest version, I think it's 5.2, so they have brought it up as much as they can. But really, I don't think they probably sound similar, but I still think, in my opinion, the lower versions with the 6 speaker versions had the best bass and the best design for having all the speakers and the bass radiators, in my opinion, with the highest volume. Compared to the newer ones, which they might have tweaked the overall sound a little bit better with good bass and better clarity, but I still think the older ones sound good and still have pretty good clarity, but they might have tweaked them a little bit better in the new ones. All these versions, the retail value is still around $299, but you can pick them up between $120 to that $299 for all the versions that you're looking for. Like I said, these really hold their value, so no matter where you pick them up, you're still going to probably be able to sell them for that, you know, 120 and up mark, depending on what version you have. So they're really, really good speakers in my opinion. So operation, like I've said in the past, is pretty simple on these speakers. All you have to do is turn the speaker on, press the Bluetooth button, it will go into Bluetooth pairing mode. Go to your device, go to your settings, go to Bluetooth, find, this is a Harman Kardon, it'll probably say Studio Onyx. Click on Studio Onyx and it should automatically pair, no problem. So the Bluetooth button's right here. Press and hold that Bluetooth button, it'll start flashing. It'll be in Bluetooth pairing mode. Go to your device, go to your settings, go to Bluetooth, and then get your phone into pairing mode. It should find the Studio Onyx, no matter what version you have, and then all you have to do is hit Studio Onyx and it will connect. Very, very easy. then just adjust your volumes accordingly. You should only have to adjust the volumes from the speaker or from your phone. You can do it either or. Really easy. Now most of these speakers all have microphones as well, so you can do some call waiting type things as well, and they have microphones in them. So I'm not going to go into a lot of that. Like, this is not a full-fledged review. I just wanted to kind of go over the features and talk about some of the things on the various speakers if you wanted to kind of compare them all together. With my final thoughts and then my decision on what you should be looking for if you're looking for one of these Onyx speakers. So if you're looking for the best technology, of course you want to go with the newest one. Also, I think on the newest versions, they've kind of have made them a little bit more crisp, a little bit more clear, but in my opinion, I think they took out the bass just a little bit because of the less speakers they have in the models. In my opinion, this is all my opinion. So going from the 5 through the newest model, they only have, you know, a combination of 1 to 3 speakers in the actual speakers. So they have a main, maybe 3-inch woofer, 3.5-inch woofer, and then they have either 2 tweeters or 1 tweeter, and then they'll also have a bass radiator in there. In the 1 through 4 models, they had 6 speakers. They had 2 3-inch woofers, 2 tweeters, and 2 bass radiators, 1 in the front and 1 in the back. So they definitely had a lot of bang for your buck in the 1 through 4, and I think that's why you get the 95 decibel level in the 1 through 4 and not in the 5 through 8. You only get 80 decimal levels, so that could be something to look into. If you want a little bit more volume, if you want a little bit more bass, I would really recommend the 4 through 1, in my opinion. Now, if you want a little bit more clarity, a little bit more mixed sound, you probably want to go with the newer versions, in my opinion. Also, through the 4 through the 8 had 8 hours of battery life. So if you want more battery life, those models are something you want to look into too. The 1 through 3 only had 5 hours of battery life. Design is going to be a big factor too. Now, if you like the orbit or the ring design on the 7 and 8, that may be something you might be looking into. Studios 5 and 6, they have a handle and a flat bottom, and so that's how it stood. You didn't have to worry about legs or anything with those models. Design might be a factor, and then of course the 4 through 1 had legs on the back of them. These one has pointed legs, and then the 3 and 4 had kind of a rounded leg. So they kind of changed the design just a little bit with the legs, but really they were very close. Now, of course, the Bluetooth models are going to be different from the 2014 model all the way up to of course, the 2022 model, but all the Bluetooths are still going to work with whatever device you have today, so no problem there. The only thing I would suggest, if you want to use this for your TV, I would probably pick something a little bit newer so your Bluetooth doesn't have any issues with lip sync issues. So when you're watching TV and hearing it on your speaker, you know, the lips kind of match up, and so you want newer Bluetooth with that. Now, if you physically cord your speaker with a 3.5mm jack or some kind of audio cord, you won't have issues with that, but just something to look into and also just warn you about. Other than that, in my final thoughts, I think the 1 through 4 are my favorite ones. The 6 speaker design really had a lot of bass. They had 95 decibels of volume. They maybe only had the 5 hours of battery life, except for the 4 does have 8 hours. So if I were to ever upgrade my speaker, if I had to, I would probably just go to the 4. I would go to the Studio 4 and get that 8 hours of battery life and still get the 6 speaker design with the 60 watts of power and the 95 decibel levels of volume. You're losing a little bit of Bluetooth in there for whatever the advancements are with that. You could still connect stereo. You could still connect 2 speakers with the HK Connect and things like that. So you still get all that technology. But that's probably where I would upgrade to. Now, some of the, like the brand new 7 and 8, they do have things in the volume where you can adjust bass and treble and things like that. But, you know, just for the way I've used this speaker, I really didn't need to adjust the bass or the treble. The speaker just sounds good no matter what I'm listening to, and I can really appreciate the speaker. So there is models all out there. All you gotta do is search, Onyx Studio, and you can look for the 3, the 4, the 5, the 6, the 7, the 8, whatever you're looking for out there. And like I said, the price ranges are gonna go from, if you could find the original 1 and 2, they're probably gonna be within that $100 mark, and I think that's a good value. Or if you're going from the 3 to the 8, they can range from honestly $100 to that $299, which is the cost you could get a brand new one, the 8 version, for $299 on Amazon. So it just depends on what you're looking, but they really do hold their value because they're really good, excellent sounding speakers in my opinion. One last thing I want to put out is that in the Onyx 1, 2, 3, and 4, you can find replacement parts for all of them, including batteries, the legs if you happen to break a leg, the power adapters, the wall adapters. You can find replacements and they're under $20. I might do a video in the future and maybe buy a replacement battery for this and try to take one apart and replace the battery. If that is interesting to anybody out there, let me know to see if that might be a video I could make. Like I said, this one still holds about 30 to 45 minutes of battery life if I just want to take it out aside for a little bit and bring it back in, which is pretty cool. But I could replace that battery for pretty cheap. So, other than that, I think that's all I have for you. Thank you so much for tuning in to this video, and if it's helpful at all, please leave a like or subscribe. Stay tuned, and we'll see you on the next one.